Hello, Year 11. Got there in the end. This is a quick video to give you some feedback on your 2015 RE mock. I titled it Common Mistakes and How to Improve Your Grade. So I'm going to give you 5 tips for improvements. They don't apply to absolutely everyone, but they were things which I saw happening fairly regularly, and they can instantly improve your grade so you can do the very best you can in the summer. Tip number 1, in the 4-mark questions, those are the questions which ask you for your opinion based on a statement. Develop your reasons. Now, 4 out of 4 marks requires you to give an opinion supported by 2 developed reasons. Now, the opinion doesn't give you any marks, it's the 2 developed reasons which do. And to develop a reason, you can do one of several things. One example is to give an example or some evidence for your point. You could explore the consequences of a point you've made, or, and I think this is sometimes easiest, just imagine somebody is asking why or how in response to what you've said. Imagine someone just looking over your shoulder saying, "Oh, why did you say that?" Or, how will that happen? Depending on what you've said in the first place will depend on what question they would ask. And that will normally instantly develop your point. I've got a few examples here for you. So imagine you've been given the question, do you think God designed the world? 4 marks. Yes, I do think God designed the world because there is so much complexity. So that's your opinion and a point. That would be 1 mark so far. Then the blue text develops it. The complicated and intricate nature of the human eye, for example, could not have come about by chance. You develop that point about the complexity by referring to the human eye, just like William Paley did. And you also said it couldn't have happened just randomly. So there's a developed reason for your point, and that is 2 marks so far. So for the next 2 marks, lovely little phrase, furthermore. So the red text is your reason. Furthermore, there's a lot of regularity in our world as well. So that's a point. That's 3 marks so far. And 4 marks, to get your 4th mark, we develop that point there. So laws of science, such as gravity, will tell us that something will always fall to the ground, unless you're on the International Space Station, and night follows day and seasons follow seasons. Regularity is all around us. And you could then round it off with, this suggests something intelligent must have designed it. And so that's an example of 2 developed reasons. The red text is your reason, the blue is the development. You just add a little bit more on. Here, I think I've given 2 examples in each case. But as I say, you can develop it in several ways. Tip number 2, don't leave big statements unexplained. Sort of development of level 1, of tip 1 here, especially in the 4 and 6 mark questions. And I've picked out one which I saw on a very regular basis, the word proof. Big statement, life after death doesn't exist because there's no proof. Book closed. You can, then go and have a cup of tea. The philosophy's been done. But you're wrong there, because you need to explain what you mean by proof. Is it observable proof? Scientifically testable proof? If you make anything you think sounds like a profound, grand statement that you think, yeah, that's gonna prove my philosophical nous, remember the examiner wants you to explain it and say more. Proof. What do you mean by proof? Tip number 3, give specific religious teachings in the 8-mark question. The 8-mark question would generally ask you to explain what religions or what particular religion says about this, that, or the other. And the examiner is looking for evidence of learning here, evidence of revision. It is very obvious to see as an examiner if someone hasn't revised and if you're just clutching at straws and making it up on the spot. Refer to religious words, teaching, and quotes if possible to make it appear at least as if you've done all your learning and all your revision. So, for example, imagine you've got an 8-mark question. Explain why most Christians do not agree with euthanasia. 4 points and get you 8 marks. Firstly, Christians believe that God, there's a big word, religious word, God has a plan for us. Because in the Bible, Christian holy book, it says he created us. You could go even further there by bringing in Genesis and the quote in the beginning if you really wanted to be clever. And then, therefore, link to the question, our life should only end when he says so. Secondly, euthanasia can be seen as murder, and this is forbidden by the 6th of the 10 Commandments, so that's another bit of Christian knowledge there. Thirdly, Christians believe in the sanctity of life. This means that all life has value, and to allow patients to end their lives devalues life. So you've got sanctity of life, there's the Christian idea. Lastly, we bring in the Ten Commandments again, and also the Golden Rule to do as to others as you would want to done to yourself from Jesus. And this links into the idea that euthanasia is currently against the law. Christians have lots of respect for laws and rules, and so that is for really focused reasons, all based around Christianity, all with specific religious vocabulary. Tip number 4, show the examiner you're making different points. You want to make the life of the examiner as easy as possible marking your work. You want to make sure that they see exactly where a first point has started and finished, where a second one starts and finished, etc. They don't want to go fishing around for your paragraphs trying to see where you've made one point, a second point, another point, develop that point. They've got a hard enough job as it is, just trying to find out what mark they should give you by checking over and over again their mark scheme. So use phrases like firstly, secondly, thirdly. Leave a gap of a line as well. That makes it easier. For example, that same thing I just showed you, but if we've got a nice big gap in the middle of the points, then it's really obvious for the examiner where you're making a first, second, third, and last point. You want them to whiz over your paper and just go, yeah, big tick, 8 marks, having just almost skim read it. Tip number 5, and I love this one, avoid statements that require very little brain power. It will give you very little marks. For example, my biggest bugbear is when I read something like, it all depends on what you believe. A 3-year-old could probably tell me that in response to a philosophical question. We don't want to know that it all depends. We want to know what you think if the question asks what you think, or what Christians think if it's about Christians, or Muslims if it's about Muslims. We want to know exactly what you think and why. To say it all depends on what you believe, that's fine. So tell us the answer to the question after that. Is it what you believe or what they believe? Whatever it is, be specific. A statement like this is very, very unspecific, and it should be avoided like the plague. Okay, so that's my 5 tips, and you'll be getting back your mocks this week with a mark scheme, repeating some of those points as well in the specific questions. I hope that is helpful. Thank you very much.